You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listen, replay. This is the vault, episode 605, recap asset protection workshop 20 Atlanta 2024. And thank everybody for traveling. Thank you everybody for that made it a point to be there, showed up on time, got fed as much as they could for their family estate. This episode is just going to be like a Trust Christian note to the event. It was a really interesting event. People were there bright and chipper. The facility was beautiful. Thank you for Larissa. Shout out to Larissa Humphreys for her facility at Abundant Returns out in Sandy Springs, Atlanta. Really appreciative. Really teched out environment. Really comfortable. Security was awesome. Appreciate the security that showed up. Appreciate Larissa's staff that showed up. Thank you all. And thank you all for, the facility and, being there. And so please feel free to hit the like and the subscribe. If you showed up, hit the like and subscribe. Definitely, if you showed up, let people know where you're actually tuning in live, listening to replay from. Let people know where you travel from. We have people travel from Florida. We have many people travel from Texas. We have so many people travel from Texas. So, shout out to Texas for just so many people traveling from Texas. Chicago, um, some people from the Midwest, people from up north, Jersey, New York, uh, quite a few people, Georgia itself. And so we just want to thank you all because this particular workshop was by far most likely the best one. We had multiple, we would say at least a third of the room was returning trustees throughout the years. So it shows you that people understand the value of continuing education and not just going to a one time thing and calling it a day. So, this episode with the recap, starting out, going over trusteeship, going over foundationship, and being a trustee overall, we really got to see that a lot of the families, they really were enlightened by, understanding the standard operating procedures as a trustee. We definitely let everybody know about the competency hierarchy. So if you want to go look at the competency hierarchy as a trustee, feel free to go look at that episode actually on the Vault's uploaded channel videos. Uh, and as well, Learned Excellence by Eric Potterat, someone that we've been able to connect with and go over the things, the tools, the mindset that you need to operate as a successful trustee. So we're thankful that we were able to put that together with trustees and really knocked it out from there. So it was definitely a great, workshop going over trusteeship with trustees. Once again, the mindset as well as the physical work. And then, going into transitioning with Larissa, her being able to provide tons of value as a tax planner, as someone that can help out with protecting assets as far as making sure that they're not taken away because you don't have them in the correct tax position. And her talking about that. Thank you for her letting people know that you need to have a plan on both fronts forward, looking not just in your business or in trusteeship, but personal. So her presentation was definitely enlightening. So we're definitely going to go into what we got from her, some of our notes, because it's interesting, being around some of the successful mentors that we've been around that hold private events. They always say you want to take notes, even on the speakers that you bring in, and so surprisingly, a lot of people wouldn't think that Trust Christian was taking notes. They think, oh, Trust Christian's the big dog. They think that he's not really paying attention because he's the senior trustee in the room, but that's completely not true. Just want to let you all know that we're always in student mentality. So for everybody that was sitting in the room that wasn't taking notes because you just wanted to pay attention, it's important to write down key highlight points. So we're going to go over some of the key highlight points. One of them is just looking into corporations that a lot of trustees come on the line, and this is something that we're going over her part, our notes from her. A lot of people, they ask always about companies that have been administratively dissolved. Should they be opened or should they not be opened again? Basically, that means that you didn't renew the corporation, and should you reopen or reestablish it? A lot of times, it's called an administrative dissolvement, and uh, it's important to, she said almost even just to start, a new one, just because it's so much back end work that you got to do when you haven't done it and managed it properly, let it go into, delinquency. And so, little things like that. Another note that we got from Larissa was diversity of ownership. A lot of times, a lot of people come over to the vault and they ask about, who's going to own this, who's going to own that. Trust is going to own this, trust is going to own that. And so, her really talking about the diversity came from diversity ownership. Looking into that, we talked to someone right after the event about that, and they were asking about their corporation and how does that work, or walking into a partnership and how does that work. Uh, she was talking about a group of advanced tax strategies. And so it's very important to focus on making sure that you have an advanced group of tax strategies. Another thing that we got from her was the need for a tax plan. A lot of people, they may think that it's their civic duty to do so and things of that nature, but clearly all successful people in our country have a tax plan. She talked about understanding what you're doing, utilize your team of advisors, get advice, um, get all your questions answered before you make a decision on who you're going to go with, implementing your plan. So she talked about fringe benefits, make everything a deduction. And this was interesting because, the speaker right after comes up and talks about insurance, and someone in the crowd asked her about insurance, saying, well, what about the insurance? And she literally, this is coming from a tax professional. This is not legal advice or financial advice from Trust Christian Vault. This is what she stated, which is insurance is an executive expense. See, these are the things that you get when you come inside of the trustee training, but these are the things that you get when you actually take notes. So once again, Trust Christian is taking notes at the events, ladies and gentlemen. We're not here to just say, oh, here's the information. We know it all. No, we're here to learn. And we really appreciate Brent because he was taking notes when Trust Christian was speaking. And that was something really important to see when you see someone that you admire, someone that you appreciate and respect, and they're taking notes too as well. Um, and so she talked about, insurance is an executive expense. She talked about document all your deductible transactions. This is something that a lot of people aren't aware of. So we'll throw out the gym. You all can read publication 535. What is that? Is that 535 or which one is it? So once again, being able to yes, business expenses. So once again, business expenses, going in and finding out what are deductible transactions. And so those are just some of the highlight points that we got from her presentation. Publication 535 per the IRS. You guys can look at that. Free consultation she provides. She has an ebook. And so we appreciate everybody that came out and listened to her presentation. Uh, Definitely very, very important. It was great to see, what she had to offer as far as the training goes, and people really being able to take advantage of everything that she was talking about. So if you give us a second here, we're actually going to just get another quick note here for so we can go over with Brent stuff. So just give us a second here. Actually, didn't have the notes sitting exactly at the table. We got to step away for 1 second here. So appreciate you all for taking the pause with us. But I'm definitely going to give you the notes that we got from Brent. And because once again, we're taking notes. We're not sitting here. We're not haughty. We're focused on learning and educating and things of that nature. So 1 second here. Alrighty, and we're back. Once again, this is the thing. A lot of times you come into these environments, and Brent comes up. He's an excellent educator, someone that we're really appreciative of. Just his value. Flying in on the jet, ladies and gentlemen. Flying in on the PJ. Had to explain to trustees that he's on his third plane, ladies and gentlemen. But people are sitting here wondering when they're ever gonna make it in life. You gotta grow to play, ladies and gentlemen. He gave an example of the backwards bicycle, and it's interesting because that's what building wealth is like. So many people have been taught how to build wealth improperly. You're not going to get wealthy on the job, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot be in the generational wealth conversation if you have a job. It's challenging, ladies and gentlemen, because you have a fixed income. You don't have the ability to grow the income, and if you do, then you got to do something different. It's going to be challenging for a second. So, once again, the book with him and Chris Nagel, I think that's how you say it. We got it wrong. Excuses for that. He wrote a book, the Some Millionaire book with him and a gentleman, and it's actually an ebook. Whether you all know it or not, if you have Google, don't know about iPhone, but you guys can listen to it, and you don't have to necessarily read it. Because a lot of people don't want to read it, but you can listen to it as well through Google Listen. Um, he talked about a whole life policy with dividends from a mutual company. Very, very important. He talked about Boley and Coley, bank owned life insurance. A lot of people don't know about bank owned life insurance. Very, very important. When you're sitting in a room and you hear that banks are, the largest purchasers of life insurance, and people are still questioning whether they should do it. They don't know which policy. So there's a lot of still miseducation about it out there, and that's what we brought Brendan to actually get rid of those misconceptions. It's interesting because when you get someone of his caliber, he comes in and talks from such a high level. For the average man and woman, if you know what we mean, we can have him come in and speak to high net worth investors, $250,000 plus. We could have him come in and speak to people that have over 10 million, $30 million and still help them out. But when you have people come in and say compounding works only if the money is sitting still, compounding only works if the money is sitting still. See, these are the misconceptions that they talk about in the public. That they're just colloquialisms in the public that people just don't understand, and you have to have someone such as of his caliber that's private that can actually come in and talk about it. Another thing is a lot of times with the 401ks, the what is that? The government sponsored programs. What are those things? Those government, those things that basically people have at a job. We don't know what they are. We don't have a job, so don't really know what they are. Some 401k, IRA, whatever it is. There's no guarantee. There's no control, and there's no transparency. There's no guarantee. There's no control. There's no transparency. Here we go. So we're sitting in a room once again. You pay for this information, ladies and gentlemen, to know that every time you put your money in the bank makes a minimum of 400 to 1400% annually every time you leave the money in the bank. And he literally challenged anybody in the room that can prove that the bank does not make 400 to 1300% minimum annually if you leave your money in the bank. When you go to the bank and put your money in the bank and they lend it out, they're making 400 to 1300% annually on that money. And you can get that information through BauerFinancial.com. You can find out about every bank and how much they make off of leaving the money in the bank. How much money they make off you leaving your money in their public institution. Bauer Financial. Premium equals deposits. A lot of people don't have that mindset when they're thinking about the insurance policy from a insurance perspective with infinite banking. They don't think about it from a premium equals deposits, use cash value. They don't think about that. He also talked about paying yourself first, pay yourself with interest, recycle and recapture all your money. Once again, everyone wants to talk about the dollar and it losing value, it's inflation, this, that, and the third, but are they paying themselves first? Are they paying themselves with interest, and are they recycling and recapturing the money? Traditionally, they're not. Uh, he also talked about how Jim Harbaugh, there was, we weren't aware of this, but there is article in November 16, 2016, when he was getting more and more into this industry, how he talked about how Jim Harbaugh, there was an article, Jim Harbaugh, football coach in America, he was paid through a cash value life policy. Football coach, once again, November 16, 2016. He talked about Pampers Chef, how they started their business or utilized certain, this style of policies, those style of policies, infinite banking policies, and actually did that with a policy, insurance policy. Talked about living off the death benefit, and a lot of people don't know that they can do that. So that was very important from what we got from that part of the presentation. Brent was awesome. Appreciate you, Brent. Appreciate your pilot flying in, privately, and that's always appreciated. Big dream builder. Uh, and just appreciate Brent wealth of knowledge. We'll do our best to bring him back on for another episode. He does have him and his daughter over at Money Multiplier have their education going already as it is. So you know how that goes, ladies and gentlemen. Or not competition, but someone that we appreciate highly and value. So that's that. And then we had Dr. Bay, come up last and really share with you all the value of knowing yourself, knowing jurisdiction, knowing that your challenges are things that are meant for you to overcome, and things of that nature. Talked about history, talked about estate planning from the fact that your first estate is yourself and managing that estate properly. Very, very important. So we always appreciate Dr. Bay for being able to come in and share his knowledge and wisdom. We had a big recap from a bunch of trustees at the end of the event. A bunch of trustees came up, said, wow, Brent gave us a different perspective than a Victor. We still have the relationship with Victor. Victor has helped out numerous trustees. We've had Carrie come through for years as well, if you've heard her as well on the podcast. But Victor for sure, senior in the field. And just really, really thankful and appreciative that we have such a deep bench of resources. That's something that we take pride in, something that we value highly, is just being able to provide those high level resources for relationships, and a lot of people got a lot of value out of it. We had trustee literally making a point to come that day, and they came just for those two speeches alone, whether it's Dr. Bay as well, and just really connecting, looking to know thyself, to implement certain specific strategies in their wealth preservation process. Um, it's really beautiful. A lot of the feedback that we got was just, once again, wealth building is a process, ladies and gentlemen. It takes periods of time to build it, and it's not overnight. You don't want to have the lottery mentality. And we're just really thankful that, a lot of trustees were able to come in, see the value of the information, see it in a repetitious way. Appreciate everybody that shook hands, everybody that traveled, from all over to actually come, and look forward to the next one. Thinking about doing a very specific event next time here, still up in October, so just be on the lookout for that. But appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in a replay. This is the Vault, episode 605, recap of asset protection workshop at ATL 2024. And once again, it was a beautiful, beautiful thing, just to have the families that we had, back again and focused on the things that they need to be focused on. And it takes time, ladies and gentlemen. We understand it takes repetition, ladies and gentlemen. So a lot of the value is going to come from you all networking. A bunch of families wanted to connect, and they have. And so it's always awesome to have people connect. It's always great to, have people be able to get the information that they need. And so we appreciate you all. So feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com, if you would like to get a consultation moving into the next quarter for trustee training. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. It's going to get busy here at the end of the year, ladies and gentlemen, because a lot of people do move into foundations, knowing they may have a liability, knowing that they don't, but they want to move into that position before the end of the year here. So Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy. Thank you once again for everybody